Good morning. Welcome to the new season of Political Paula. Now, I may be, let me introduce myself. To those of you who are new, I've gotten some new subscribers on YouTube and some new followers on Facebook. So I am Political Paula, and for the last 5 months, I've lived in a trailer park in the middle of nowhere. However, I was able, through very good internet and so, just okay television service to get news. So I have not missed anything that happened in the news in the past 5 months. And there has been a lot of stuff that, believe me, Political Paula has an opinion about. And I want to hear how you all feel about it. So I'm going to tell you what I learned. I'm going to give you a topic, and then we're going to talk about it. So over the summer, actually in September, I saw a story on Fox News. Yes, Political Paula watches Fox News now. In moderation, I should tell you a little bit about why I watch Fox News is because I get tired of turning to CNN and just listening to them just criticize the president all the time. Now, I've criticized the president. That's fine. I didn't vote for the president. I made that very clear. But the point is, there are other news stories out there. And I see that CNN and MSNBC sort of ignore those stories. Like on 9/11, CNN basically did hardly anything on 9/11, and Fox News, they dedicated their entire day to remembering 9/11/01, which I thought was very important and made me a fan of Fox News. So I saw this story on Fox News. I thought it was interesting because, again, I've told you over the last 5 months, I've changed. My politics have changed. My attitude toward our Constitution has changed. And I think when your own constitutional rights are threatened, like the First Amendment, which mine have been the last 5 months living where I lived, my First Amendment rights are tested on a daily basis. And I think when you're threatened with that, you tend to walk in others' shoes who believe that their constitutional rights are also being threatened. So today, October 3rd, is Bring Your Bible to School Day. And I first heard of this on Fox News when they were saying that Drew Brees, the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, put out on his Instagram or his social media post that he was encouraging young people, school students, to bring their Bible to school on October the 3rd. And he got blowback. He got a lot of hate texts and hate comments for doing this. And what interested me was who was blowing back on him. And that's what I'm going to start with, is the people who had a problem with supporting Bring Your Bible to School Day were national LGBTQ rights groups. And what I find interesting about that is that I personally know members of the LGBTQ community. I'm very proud to know them, to call them friend, to call them my family. And many of them happen to be Christians. They go to church. They read the Bible. And I think this is where we get in trouble when all these specific groups come out against something. Then people see that and they think everyone who is LGBTQ is anti-Christian. Nothing could be further from the truth, okay? There are pastors in this country who are members of the LGBTQ community, and they run their own churches, they minister to Christians, they run Christian churches, okay? So instead of the LGBTQ national organizations coming out and attacking anyone who chooses to read the Bible, which is your First Amendment right, by the way, you can read whatever you want, I find that they do more harm to themselves than help themselves. Because once again, there are many LGBTQ Christians in this world. So I personally have no problem with anyone bringing their Bible to school to read on their own time, at lunch, on breaks, in study hall. I used to bring books to school to read over lunchtime, personal books that I was reading at the time that I enjoyed. I have no problem with that. I would, however, be a little happier if it weren't just your Bible. Why not it be bring your Bible to school, bring your Quran to school, bring your Jewish religious book to school, bring your Atlas Shrugged book to school, bring some Ayn Rand to school. Bring a book to school on October 3rd about something you believe. If you believe in Ayn Rand, if you identify as an atheist, then you can bring a book to school that promotes that, and you can read it. If you are Muslim, you can bring a Quran. If you're Jewish, you can bring a Torah, I believe it's called. I'm not that familiar, I think. Or a Jewish holy book. And if you're Christian, you bring your Bible. And that's all well and good. But do we really need a day? Because technically, under the First Amendment, you have the right to bring those books to school in your backpack any day of the year. You can take the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, Atlas Shrugged to school and read it, to a public park and read it, to a public school, and you can read it because it's your personal reading. And here's what you can't do, okay? First of all, you cannot force anyone else to read it. And you can't get a group of people together and start reading it out loud and force them to listen to it. See, that's separation of church and state. If you are in a public school, you can't force anyone else to listen to any religiously oriented book. Those are the rules. I didn't make them, but they're the rules. It's called separation of church and state. The schools are state funded by all taxpayers of the state, including atheists, Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists, and all religions pay taxes for public schools, and therefore public schools are not allowed to promote any one religion. And it's real funny because I'm the only one who's talking about the fact that there's no bring your Quran to school day, or bring your Torah to school day, or bring your Ayn Rand books to school day. The Muslims and the Jewish people and the Buddhists and the Wiccans, the book of spells, there's no bring your book of spells to school day either. But you can. And not just today. You can bring your book of spells and your Quran and your Bible. You can bring that to school any day you want. And if you can't, then that is a horrible infraction on your First Amendment right. What you can't do is read from the book aloud and try to force other people to listen to it. That's where that separation of church and state. Because there are students and teachers who come into the school, the public schools, and they don't want to be preached at or preached to. And the First Amendment and also the rule, separation church and state, says they shouldn't have to. So there you go. Now, so we have this one day that technically is any day. You can bring any book you want to school and read it on your own time. But it's a big brouhaha. Right away, the Christians go, oh my God, there's a war on Christianity. Okay, guess what? I've changed a little. I haven't changed that much. I am not this far to the right that I'm going to say there's a war on Christianity. If anything, the Christians are at war, and I've said this before, with anyone who refuses to follow what they believe is a Christian lifestyle. And again, I must say, we bomb countries with Islam extremists who try to make everybody Muslim. We bomb those countries. We kill those people. But it's okay for Christians in America to try to force every American and every political person, every congressman, every senator, every presidential candidate to run on a Christian-based platform. Ban abortion, ban gay marriage. I mean, come on. I'd love to hear one of these so-called Christian right Bible people saying, why don't we ban divorce? Why don't we ban adultery? If you commit adultery, you go to jail. I don't hear any of them saying that. They don't say that. But what they want is they want to be in my doctor's office. They want to be in my body, control my body. And they want to tell me who I can fall in love with. See, that's not their right. Not in America. In America, we have the right to choose what religion we want to practice, or we have the right to choose to practice no religion at all. We have that right. And no one has the right to force us to go to church, to read a Bible, or to live the way someone else wants us to live based on their religious beliefs. That's the law, people. I didn't make the law. It's the law. If you don't like the law, well, go live somewhere else. Go live somewhere else. Are there countries where Christians are persecuted? Yes. But they're not being persecuted in America. All that happens in America when some Christian group wants to control the entire country, well, the entire country says, hey, wait a minute. You can go to church every Sunday. You can go to church on Wednesday. You can go to church anytime you feel like it. You can read your Bible. You can live by your Bible. You can make your children live by your Bible. You can do anything you want in your own home. You can do anything you want in your church. You can raise your kids the way you believe and hope they toe the line. Sometimes they don't. They leave the church. You have every right to do that. What you do not have the right to do is to come into my house, knock on my door, and tell me that now I have to live the way you think I should live. No. Because now you're infringing on my right to freedom of religion, freedom from religion, and the right to my pursuit of happiness, liberty, and the life that I want to lead. And I'm not necessarily saying I personally. I'm still on the fence with the Christianity thing. I'm half there, half out. I'm half in and half out. I'm bi. So I'm still thinking on that one. There are days when I truly believe in God, and there are days when I'm like, you know what? This is a crapshoot. If God did this, then, oh well. I really hope he doesn't exist because I'm really angry right now. So I'm on the fence. But when I say I mean all of you. I am an American citizen. Okay? I vote. I pay taxes. Lots and lots and lots of taxes. And because I was born an American citizen, I, like all of my viewers out there who are American citizens, you all and I, we have the right to not be a Christian. We have a right to not be any religion. But we also have the right to respect, or I'm sorry, we have the duty to respect those who do believe in a religion, any religion. We have a duty to respect Muslims. We have a duty to respect Wiccans, Buddhists, Jewish people, and of course, Muslims. Law-abiding people who believe in a religion, whether we agree with their beliefs or not, have a right in this country to openly practice their religion. They do not have a right to force it onto any of us if we choose not to believe it. And they don't have the right to try to force the government to force all of us by making laws, to pressure the Supreme Court to change our Constitution, to make any religious group happy. Okay? So it is bring your Bible to school day, and I say to Muslims and Jews and Buddhists and Wiccans, take today. Bring your religious readings to school as well. They can't stop you from doing it. It's your right. It's your First Amendment right. And don't just do it today. If you're really into reading the Quran, if you're really into reading your Bible, if you really choose to read your Book of Spells and your Buddhist books and your Ayn Rand, bring it to school tomorrow. Bring it to school on Monday. Bring it to school while you are enjoying reading it. You know, there are some classes, English literature classes, that read certain religious books as literature. Not as truth, not as preaching, but as literature. They are sometimes written in language that is hard to decipher, kind of like the Scarlet Letter and other books like that take place in the 1700s, 17th century. They use different language. They speak with these and thous. And as literature, it's a very good teaching tool, not as preaching it. But I remember reading one book of the Bible in English lit in public school as literature, and then deciphering the words that were so hard to understand. And it actually helps you, if you decipher those words, to read other books, especially classics, written in that time period, that you can now understand the words. It's very helpful. Religious writings, ancient literature, as literature, not as a way to live or as a preaching tool. These books are very important. Very important. Shapes your mind. But it does not mean anyone's trying to force you to believe what you're reading. Just like when we read fiction, we know it's fiction. But we read it and we love it, and sometimes we're sad when the book ends. So as long as the religious books are presented in a classroom for their literary genius, their literary value, I have no problem with that either. As long as the teachers understand and the students are told, you don't need to believe what you're reading, but you should really look at how it was written, or in most cases, how it was translated, and what were the authors really thinking. See, that's the cool part of studying literature as literature, instead of as true fact and as a way to live. That's my show. I promised you that we were going to have a once-a-week show, so this is the show for this week. And now I want you to tell me what you think about this topic. So let's talk about it. Political Paula is out.